Abortion is murder, and in this video, I may explain why abortion is murder and the people who perform abortion should go to jail. So the first point is many people that study and do like a lot of things on abortion say that life starts at conception, right? APEDS says that life starts at conception. I think it's a place that studies human life. It's a biology center, and they study human life, and they said human life does start at conception. Also, we can say that 87% of biologists believe that life starts at conception. So those are people that are actually like learning about abortion, or my bad, learning about human life, learning about all this stuff. They believe that life starts at conception. Now, I don't know if they believe it's moral or not. Yeah, if it starts human life starts at conception, which 80% of biologists believe, then it should be murder. Because biologists are, again, all they do is study life. All they do is study life. And if human life does start at conception, then that's morally wrong. That's morally murder. A human life is a human life, no matter what stage it is, right? It has potential of life, it has the potential of all these stuff. I mean, Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, all these people their moms were encouraged to have abortions. Imagine if they didn't. Imagine if they did. They would. Steph Curry wouldn't be alive. Andrea Bocelli wouldn't be alive, right? All these great people wouldn't be alive, right? Like, life does start at conception. Again, 80% of biologists do believe that. Very popular ones believe that. Then it has to be that's a murder, because it's now arguing is if it's justified or not. That's very hard because the fetus never did anything wrong. The fetus never did anything wrong, so murdering it, there's no justification for that. Now, a lot of the second argument is not a human; it's just a fetus. Well, can two humans make something else, or does it only make a human? Basic biology. You learned this when you're a freshman year. Two of a species makes that species. It can't make another species. That's not possible. How can it be a fetus then? Is a fetus not a human, or is a fetus just a different species? Then it turns into a human. We know it's alive. So when does it become a human? At conception. At conception. Because two humans make another human. It's like two lions make another lion, two zebras make another zebra. It's the same thing. We're both species. When we reproduce, it's the same species. We don't make another species, and that's not really even possible to make another species. Right? Again, two humans make another human. And saying that it's a fetus, even if it was a fetus, right? Because it is a fetus, but it's also human, right? Medical dictionary say an embryo is 1 to 8, a human from 1 to 8 weeks, and fetus it's just a human. It's a human in development. A human. This is what medical dictionaries say. Medical dictionaries say this is a human, right? There's no evidence. There's more evidence to say it is a human than it's not, because you're arguing against basic science that this is not a human, right? It's in development. So when it develops, when it's 5 years old, it's gotta be a human. It has a heartbeat from 6 weeks, it has a brainwaves by 8 weeks. It starts developing lungs in the first trimester. All this stuff, right? The average abortion is at the end of the first trimester, right? That's when it has heartbeats, brainwaves, lungs are starting to develop. I mean, when a baby gets born in 3 months, it's alive and it's a human. So if it gets born out, what species is it? It's a human, right? And then it gets hooked up to ventilators and all that great stuff. But it's more proof that it's a human than it's not. Next, they would say is, well, it can't survive without the mother. Well, me at 1 years old can't survive with my parents, right? Me at 1 years old can't survive without the people taking care of me. That's the same thing as it's inside the mother. It can't live without the mother, just like I can't live my 1 year old self can't live without the parents, right? It's just how it works. Like, you can't hunt. They can't hunt or gather because we're 1 years old. We can barely even talk. We can't even talk. You don't even learn to talk until 2, 3 years old. So you don't even learn how to really start using like pronunciations and like actual like basic knowledge until you're like 5 years old. So saying that it can't survive without the mother is just wrong. Also saying like are disabled people not humans because they can't live without the people taking care of them. Are people that are on ventilators, are they not human? Because the ventilators are keeping them alive. There's so many examples I can give that is to prove that this is alive and compared to how it's not alive or not human. Are those people humans? You have to say yes. So, but if it's out in the mother, it's not human, right? Well, even if it's in the mother, that baby has its own DNA. So, what makes a person two different people is its DNA. Just unique. It's a unique DNA unless you have twins. But even then, you're still a little bit different. Everyone has their own DNA. You're not the same person. You're not the same person. So that's still human. That's still not your body. That's the baby's body because it has its own DNA, which is at conception. Your own DNA is made at conception. That's why no person, even if they're twins, they still have a difference. Right? The little is a little of a difference. That's because you have your own DNA coding when you are made at conception. So it's not your body. Even if it's in your body, you're still a human because you're of your own DNA coding. So if that makes a lot more sense than saying, well, it's not human. You're trying to argue that something is not human when more evidence proves that it is a human and it should be outlawed. My third point would be that if it's a human, it needs human rights or natural rights that our founding fathers gave, which is natural rights are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If it's a human, it deserves life. If it's a human, it deserves life. And no, I'm not going to use the Bible for obviously this. Obviously, this claim can be even if you're not a Christian, you can morally be against the Bible, or not the Bible, the abortion, right? Morally against it because it's morally wrong. If it's a human, which more evidence proves that it's a human, 87% of biologists believe it's a human. People that study life, people that study human life for a living, that's their whole livelihood, they believe that's a human. Doctors believe that's a human. We have again ACAB, my bad, says it's a human. So how can you argue that, right? And say, well, it doesn't deserve life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness because it's just not a human. Because if it's a human, it deserves that, right? Because they didn't do anything. They didn't commit any crime to get that taken away, right? They did what is right in just living, right? They didn't do anything wrong. They were just there. They didn't choose to be on this earth. That's why we should have some more self control and not do this stuff so we don't have abortions. And I would say, lastly, a fun fact is 1/3. So 1/3 of Gen Z was aborted. 1/3. 1/3 of Gen Z was aborted. So you're supporting this. I think almost like a couple million babies were aborted, and only a couple thousand of them were for rape and incest. So what's the rest? The what's the rest? Because it was accidental abortion. It was accidental pregnancy. You know how wrong that is. You know how wrong that is. You know how messed up that is. This is why I can't support New Jersey. They support murder. My great state supports murder. Right, to all capacities, no matter what. If you don't like the hair color, you can abort it. Up to 9 months, which is crazy because at 9 months is literally can live. At 9 months, you can get abortion the day before it's supposed to be aborted. The day it's supposed to be birthed. Babies can live outside the womb at 7 months. Live outside perfectly fine. My mom did. Right, preemie. They can live perfectly fine at 7 months. All right. New Jersey supports a full trimester, a full thing of abortion, which is so bad. Not even California. California is viability, right? The abortion is murder. And if you're a Christian, you can't even support abortion. The church does not allow abortion under any aspect. Nothing. No, in no way abortion should be allowed. That's what the church says. Only for the mother's life. I support that too. I'm for that. I believe that only for the mother's life that abortion should be legal. But I made 4 points today in 10 minutes. I hope this gets through to people, and I will be praying that all states ban abortion. And I hope you guys too. God bless.